chair, but we got to bring the microphone back, right? Got to bring it. We're coming. We're coming. We're coming. We're coming.
Well, first of all, I've had a wonderful week. God has been so good to me. But I want to read you a Bible verse that, now I've told you before, my dad was a Quaker, and a lot of people say, so what's that? But that's neither here nor there. This was his evening prayer at the table, and it took me as a kid a long time before I realized it came from the Bible. It's Psalms 145, 15 and 16. The eyes of all wait upon thee, O Lord, and thou givest their meat in due season. Thou openest thine hand and satisfies the desire of every living thing. Now just think about that for a minute. Isn't that wonderful? I have been looking, and I know you're going to laugh, for a blue chair for my living room. I went to Haskell's in Lovell. I went to Cody. I've looked everywhere, and I couldn't find what I wanted. I didn't stop to say, God, this is what I'm looking for. But he knew my heart so easily. It's just really funny. Yesterday morning, I went to a yard sale. And would you believe they had a blue chair, just exactly what I was looking for. I sat down in it, and the lady had watched me. And I thought, well, I really, really don't need it. I'll pass it by today. Now, here again, God knows our heart. So I went home, and I did a yard sale. I went to that one, and I just sort of put a downer on it. And went home, there was a phone message on the phone and said, Mom, will you come over to Lovell and meet us there? So I said, well, yes, I will. That took care of that, didn't it? So Shotzi and I headed to Lovell, and I know I stopped, the brain did anyway, and prayed 3 different times. And I thought, Lord, if you want me to have that chair, you know, everybody's looking at it. How does God do these things? You know, he's just so wonderful. So needless to say, like I say, I prayed 3 times, went, met the kids, did our thing, and while I was over there, and it's a blessing too, I sold the motorhome that's been sitting there since March, and I was just thrilled to death. The kids took me out to lunch. I never even give the chair another thought till I got home. And I thought, gee, it's 2:00. I wonder if that blue chair is still over there. So I got in the car, and I went over there, and I went around and back, and they were just picking up, trying to get the yard in shape after the yard sale. And I said to this lady, love her dear heart, I said, do you still happen to have that blue chair? She says, honey, it's sitting right there. You can have it. And I just put my head down, and I said, honey, I got to share you the rest of the story. She said, I saw you sat in it this morning, and it just fit you. Isn't God good? So she said, you drive around in the alley and we'll put it in your car. So drove around in the alley and they put it in, and they said, now how are you going to get it out of there when you get home? And I said, I'll make do, I'll get there. She said, no, where do you live? And I told them. And she said, we'll meet you there and we'll take it out of the car for you. I mean, God does the whole business. I was just, so we drove over to the house, and bless his dear heart. Now, he hadn't said anything, but I knew from our conversation that she was a Christian. And she was just delighted. She said, we've been having a study on, now she used that term, elderly and widows. And she said, we're just thrilled to death to give you this chair. Isn't God good? You know, when we least expect it, it's just wonderful. So anyway, he brings the chair in and removes the one I wanted to get rid of and puts that blue chair there. And she said, oh my, she said, it just fits. And it does. And he had not said a word till we walked out the front door, and he put his arm around me and he said, man, we sure need a lot more people like you in this world. And needless to say, I've made some friends that will always be my friends, and I know we'll meet again in heaven. God is so good.
Hey man, I know the men's Bible study not long ago we've been talking about prayer. We were talking about having a prayer list, and I think Paul had shared prayer lists that he's done before in the past, specifically how the Lord answered those prayers, just like he'd asked, and writing them down, he knew it, and that's what reminds me of with Kathy. The Lord knew what she wanted, it was there on her heart, and he went over and beyond what you would expect, didn't he? Over and beyond. Thank the Lord for it. Appreciate Kathy's spirit too. She helps up at the manor and over at the nursing home, and the folks love her so much. She's got that spirit, vibrant, loving spirit that she comes. You know, I'm a little bit more, but she's got. You know, she comes along, and I think Grandpa Allen's a little bit more smiley too, and I'm kind of. No, I'm just kidding. But it's nice to have her. She brings those people in and loves them, and pats them on the back, hugs them, and they love her. So we love that spirit. We thank the Lord that He's brought you here to this little church. We thank the Lord for it. Anybody else have a testimony this morning you'd like to share? I think last week, some people want to quench the Holy Spirit. When the Holy Spirit's leading you in a testimony, you need to be obedient. But I'm glad last week it worked out, because there was a couple people the Lord was putting on their heart to share in the morning, but it was the right timing in the evening service for them to share. I think it was extra special how the Lord worked all that out. So, if you don't have one, we're going to have our 6 o'clock service tonight. So if the Lord leads you there to share tonight, we would love for you to do that. If there's nobody else that has a testimony, we'll bring... Sandy's got one. Holy Spirit got you. Okay, prayer request.
I got a call from my sister last night, and our cousin is a missionary in Laos, Vietnam, right now. And they've been taken capture. So I don't know how much of this should go out. Mm-hmm. She said we're not supposed to, put it on Facebook or anything, but they took her their passports, and they took all their money, and they put them under house arrest. So if you just pray for that, we don't know what's going on, because there's not allowed to be any communication, and even that wasn't supposed to be public. So just pray for. It's my first cousin's daughter, so she's probably 21, 22, somewhere around there. So thank you.
Okay. Those of you that write down prayer requests and stuff, if you write it down, we'll be praying for that. Amanda? Okay. Well, I'm going to give you one more opportunity, see if the Lord's given you. Anybody else want to come and share? Okay, we're going to bring Brother Kurt up then.